Second Samuel chapters 14 and 15. And yes, 2 chapters, but I'm going to be shorter than yesterday, okay? After 3 years of Absalom being with his grandfather, Joab, who's David's top general, he looks to bring Absalom back. Again, there's all sorts of questions of why that might be. He's heir to the throne, technically. Maybe he's looking to kind of, build a smooth transition, or maybe Absalom might be the next guy, or who knows why Joab exactly is looking to do this. But he looks to bring Absalom back, or at least help Absalom come back. And he uses this guise of a story through a wise woman. Kind of feels a little kind of Nathan-esque. What I mean by that is after David's rape and murder of Bathsheba's husband, Uriah the Hittite, Nathan comes to David, tells David a story. David gets all incensed at the story, and then Nathan goes, "You're that guy." It's kind of what the wise woman's kind of doing. Tells a story. David's but he sees through this one and goes, okay, this story is not a real thing. You're trying to talk about me, and you're not the one who came up with this. And he realized that Joab is trying to manipulate David into particular action, essentially allowing David to bring Absalom back. So David does see through it. He does agree for Absalom return, but Absalom is effectively under house arrest. And when Absalom returns, he kind of chafes under house arrest. I mean, he's, can't see he doesn't have access to power. And we're going to see that's one of the things that Absalom is looking for. And so Absalom is trying to get Joab's attention. Joab won't answer his emails, the equivalent of that day. And ends up sending some of his servants to go burn one of Joab's fields. Joab comes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, you didn't answer my first, messages, so I figured I'd get your attention this way." They talk, and Joab is convinced to go to David on Absalom's behalf. So again, this has been 2 years more have gone by, and Absalom, he's patient. I mean, here he's wanting to get stuff going, but he's waited 2 years. And he wants to he wants to be pardoned. So Joab helps. He's freed from house arrest, and now begins the next long-term plan of Absalom's career, so to speak. Again, his father has bodyguards, so can't get access himself. So what he does is he basically kind of sits himself out in front of the palace. So when people are coming to the king for judgment, he's like, "Hey, come and talk to me. Hey, oh, you're going to go talk to my dad. Oh, what's the case? Or like, what's your grievance? Oh, if I was king, man, I'd side with you. If I was king, this is what I would do. I'd give you what you wanted. Like, you're in the right." And he's doing this for like 4 years, right? Just, regularly, just anyone who's coming to the palace. "Oh, I'd serve you, man. If I was king, man, things would be better than this." And he's just, I'll also mention, he also was handsome and had great hair. The hair's going to become a problem later on. Just find that an interesting detail. After 4 years, Absalom, has kind of feels like, I've got enough kind of popularity, support, I'm doing well in the polls. He makes his move. He gathers a number of his supporters, goes to the place where his dad was declared king, and he's declared king. Absalom is king. David hears about this, and David knows, I'm in trouble. And he runs. He runs from the palace, basically leaves 10 concubines there and a few others that just aren't able to leave. And Absalom takes over the palace. Now, we see here as David's leaving, there's some tremendous statements of loyalty to David from those among his household, but not all of his household, but there's, many, and you'll have read these, or you can read these. But David also hears, and this name's going to come up again, his top advisor, a man named Ahithophel, has gone to Absalom. Now, Ahithophel was the grandfather of Bathsheba. So, not maybe surprising that Ahithophel didn't go with David. David had raped his granddaughter and killed his grandson-in-law. So, we have this dynamic. We'll see this come back. Some of the priests, they brought the ark to follow David, and David goes, nope, takes it back. He's not going to treat the Ark of the Covenant as a talisman for success. Kind of that, if I have this, well, then I'm secure. Kind of the same idea of what happened way back in the book, 1 Samuel, when the people brought the Ark because they thought, oh, we'll bring the Ark and we'll defeat the Philistines. And it started a whole chain of events there that we've looked at already. David's going to trust God to do what God sees as right and best and not try to manipulate the circumstances. That's what we see David doing here. This wise woman at the beginning of this chapter kind of talks about David as, hey, oh, you were right, David. You saw through what I was doing. Man, you see what's going on in your kingdom. Kind of ironic. He really doesn't. He didn't see what Absalom was doing for these 4 years. But again, I want to commend this part of David here. Again, he's a mixed bag. There's times of great faith and maturity and just confidence in God that David shows in his life. And there's times where he is a prisoner and he is weak to his own desires and selfishness and so on. So he's kind of like us. But David's submission to God's will here, not looking to manipulate God when he's in trouble, is something that we can commend as a good example of faith. David was willing to trust God, who had revealed himself to be, and David uses some of these words, merciful and compassionate, full of faithful love. David's like, this is who you are, God. You've made covenant with me. I'm going to trust you. So it's a reminder for us, the promises God has made to us, the covenant God has invited us into based on Jesus, we can trust in good times or in bad. We hold on to that rather than our fears or our desires. May the Lord bless you and keep you today. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.